Humans in Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of them, which both does and doesn't make sense to me. As a fellow human, I am a human. It makes sense for us to be the dominant species. I mean, we are the best. But in a world with dragons, Leviathan, furry dominatrix mommies, the script just says weird clip, you'll find it in brackets. Okay, here you go. I can't help but feel us humans wouldn't stand a chance in a world like this, though. This is Cardboard Concepts, where we take an element of Magic the Gathering, flip it on its head to see if it leads us to some interesting designs or concepts. I'm Nick's Lotus, and this is the human problem. Humans, for those of you who play Fighter in D&D, those of you whose favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla, and want to look at your cards and go, hey, that's kind of like me. I'm one of those. I get it. Humans in Magic are all about surviving and or advancing. If you're born a human in this world, unfortunately, you're going to have to either risk your life surviving and or fighting the forces that want to annihilate you every second. Or if no life-threatening forces are imminent, you get stuck studying, because you're going to be making tools, creating artifacts, or casting spells, baby. I like to describe humans as the cockroaches of the multiverse, but like, the good ones. The thick time. They survive just about everything and group together in large swarms. I don't know if a human group is called a swarm, but I kind of like that. The difference here that makes humans much scarier is the fact that they advance, they create the world that's around them, and they find this video funny. Humans are the most printed creature type in Magic's long history, and you know, that's not necessarily a problem if it wasn't by so goddamn much. At the time of recording, there are 3,568 human creatures in the game, with the second most printed creature type being wizards, with 1,045 creatures. Yeah, humans nearly triple the second most printed type, and that type is wizard. Guess how many of those wizards are human? Guess how many? 545 of those wizards are human. So that just leaves 500 of the wizards that aren't actually human. So you see where the problem lies. Question time. What do you think the third and fourth highest printed creature types are? Answer: warrior and soldier. Which I really don't have to explain why that's kind of an issue as well. Humans are getting a lot of love. My issue most of the time with Magic design comes down to two things: complacency and repetition. Complacency comes into play with most long-term projects, so I don't blame them, and I kind of get why this has happened. It's a 20-year-old game. It's kind of easy to get a bit drained, especially with the whole humans being printed all the time thing. Repetition comes in with constant human creature designs coming out. It's easy to see templates that they can fill and what works, and then just kind of do that. We got human wizards, we have human soldiers, we have the human warriors, we have human monks and priests. Now this isn't bad, as like those roles in a world would exist, so they're still needed for world building, but just not as much as they're always used. Like these creature types on human are used constantly. But knowing what works isn't an excuse to stop looking for what else does. Magic has a weird history of what types they will put on a Magic card. Let's look at Godric, Cloaked Reveler, alright? This is a human noble. If you look at his lore, his entire thing is that he's actually a dragon in disguise at a party. Now this isn't to say the design's bad, because he does turn into a dragon if you play 2 or more permanents. But why not put dragon on his creature type? The first 2 things I read on a creature are the name and mana cost, and then what type of creature it is. So if I read human dragon, it's safe to say I would definitely read the rest of that card, maybe look up the lore. It would help world building in my head, for sure. Now you may disagree here. You may say, Nick, he's in disguise. The flavor here is actually really good and makes sense, okay? Now, okay, alright, you may be right. If only there was another example of something in Magic being undercover to see how they handled that. I really don't think. Remember when Liliana pretended to be a professor under the name Onyx? Yeah, her name would be Planeswalker Onyx then, right? Because she's in disguise is the thing, and that's the thing we put as the creature type or the Planeswalker type or whatever the type is. We put what it's disguised as, right? Godric was disguised as a human, so human was his creature type. Liliana's disguised as Onyx, so Onyx should be her Planeswalker type. No, she's Planeswalker Liliana. She's still who she is, even if she's in disguise. Weird. Also, I point to Werebear, a human bear that's clearly in the bear stage, but still says human. Just a couple things to think about. You see how they just kind of do whatever they want with human subtypes with like little to no thought? I mean, look at this excerpt from MTG Wiki describing Jund humans, okay? These are Jund humans. These aren't Jund mutants, Jund lizards. These are Jund humans. They have forked tongues and scales on their skin. Hey, design team. Should we delve into this whole humans having scales and lizard tongues thing? Maybe make it a lore point and be like, hey, maybe they made a deal with dragons. Maybe make their subtype dragon. Or maybe even make it worm to show that the dragons tricked them, didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Nah, none of that. What's this nerd talking about? Give them scales, it looks cool. Humans are a blank slate waiting for that sweet, sweet second creature type. But unfortunately, get none of them. Want a human soldier, warrior, monk, artificer, rogue, knight, citizen? good, because that's all we've got. And that seems like a good amount of secondary creature types, like when I list them off like that. But when you notice that soldiers, warriors, and knights are just super similar, both in design and gameplay, and there are a total of 275 plus different creature types in Magic, it starts to feel a little bit, skipped over. Subtypes aren't just a way to make creatures look less boring. They are telling us what that creature's role is in the world. And making every human a soldier, a monk, or an artificer is doing an extreme disservice. Not only in storytelling, but also world building. Going through all the human cards in Magic, it's genuinely difficult to find a human subtype that makes me go, oh, that's interesting. What's the backstory there? Honestly, go to Scryfall, type in type human, and you see what kind of subtypes you see that, interest you. Honestly, Werebear was about the only one that interested me outside of Universe Beyond, which is just based off of already inspired references and material, so I really didn't count those. And this is especially frustrating because it's not hard to make an inspired design. Let me draw a random card out of this pile on my desk. Helldriver, a devil. Let me combine that with human devil. Let's look that up on Scryfall. None. Just that right there, you see how much story a creature type can tell. How did he become a devil? Are his parents human and a devil? Did he make a deal? Did someone in his lineage make a deal? Did he get injected with devil blood? Is he a Nephilim? What's your deal, man? You know what I mean? Already more interesting than 90% of what you look at. Wizards design team handles humans in a very black or white way. And I'm all about black or white thinking. My therapist tells me all the time. Opting to fill the set with them to promote this feeling of us being in the game, humans overcoming this evil, or they completely take them out of the set or have little to no humans in the set and make 0 story points about it. Now, this second set design choice of little to no humans could be super interesting because of how many there are if they made it a part of the world building. Let me explain. In Phyrexia, all will be one. There are 2 human cards. I didn't realize this. It wasn't really a big point that anybody made on any videos for that set. But yeah, there's only 2 humans in that set, which is so goddamn annoying to me. And let me explain why. Because they were so close to executing this style of humans being the minority, but they couldn't quite get it right. One of these 2 humans is Melira, who has a literal immunity to glistening oil. Love that. That is so good. That is so cool. She's the only one alive. All of her family's dead. All of her friends are dead. She has this immunity that has now become a curse. Really good story. Oh wait, didn't you say there's 2 humans? I did say there's 2 humans. The other guy is Jor Kadim, who used some blink moth material to make armor that makes him resistant to the Phyrexian contamination. Not immune, not 100% immune, just, slightly resistant to the contamination that is in full force, and it's converted every single human on the plane besides these 2. Because you could have had Jor come back as a Phyrexian to show just how potent this round of the Phyrexian infection is. But no, he lives too. Then you read his card and you're like, oh, he gets bigger for each other thing you have that's equipped that's attacking. Why would you have anything else? He's the only rebel alive. You know what I mean? He's not really fighting with anybody else right now. He's just kind of trying to be alive. Also, in the explanation of Jor Kadim on his thing, it says he's a warrior, a soldier of the people, and then the next sentence it says that he really likes to hide and avoid battle. What? Do you see what I'm saying? They just kind of throw humans at walls, and they're just we can completely change what this guy does. They're humans. There's so many of them. A set where humans are the minority, or maybe even something to be hunted like a game animal or studied like an extinct species. There's so many ways you could go about humans being the minority instead of either the majority or just something to brush aside. You know what I mean? There's 2 humans left on this plane. Nah, no storytelling moments, really. Sorry. Mechanics like Exalted could make a return, or even making a mechanic where if that's the only creature you control on your side, during your upkeep or during your end step or whatever, you get some kind of bonus. So you're benefiting from you being the lone survivor type, the humans surviving these outside forces. Again, challenging the status quo of card design leads to some really cool card design and world building. I think I need to do that way more. Flip some of these concepts on their head, guys. I think you'll get some really cool ideas. Let's talk some more about how humans are just very narrow to design. Humans are fast. There's no way around it. In Magic, whether they're wizards, rogues, monks, barbarians, I can guarantee you something. 9 times out of 10, they're fast. Out of 3,500 humans in the game, guess how many of them cost 3 or less? 2,500 of them. That's a huge chunk. So it's safe to say there's a certain precursor that can't be avoided with human design. They're going to be one of these 6 subtypes. They're going to be efficiently costed. If they're a human soldier, they're going to be combat focused. If they're a human wizard, they're going to copy or make your spells cost cheaper. If they're a human artificer, they're going to make artifacts and then scrap them to do abilities. All these things are cool when done sparingly, but it seems like almost every set has one of these things that kind of just fills a slot now. Now, all that being said, I'm going to attempt to show you a version of what I think humans could be if approached from a different angle. So let me set up a very loose world. I've not really delved that deep into this. I definitely can if the response if you guys like it, just to like show you how quickly good ideas and concepts can kind of just like pop into your head. Let's just come up with a random plane name. Vare. That sounds like a cool, mysterious plane. Vare is a relatively peaceful advanced plane similar to Ravnica in terms of technology. They are known for their engine designs and inventing new modes of creating energy. The main species on this plane are Luxodon and elementals, with other species throughout. While prolific and vast on other planes, humans on this plane are dwindling and on their last leg. Primitive and violent, a threat to the public, the residents of Vare are attempting to completely eradicate them. To combat this, the humans have begun making deals with an eldritch force to begin creating human offsprings through dark magic. This magic, however, does not come for free, as the humans created through this process seem to have the memories and physical traits of random species from other planes who have also made deals with these beings. The humans made in this process also have a margin of the lifespan as actual humans. This setup for a set design already does a lot to inspire some world building and card design. First thing it does is set up humans as a genuine evil in the set, which I don't think has actually been done in a set before. There's definitely been main villains that have been human, like Yawgmoth I think was a human, but I don't think humans as a creature type have been the evil of the set, which I think could be really cool. Also, the introduction of like eldritch black magic deals to make human clones that are short-lived and randomly spliced with other creatures from the multiverse. Yeah, I could see how that could add some really cool design, have some of them mutated with tree folk, some of them mutated with giants, and have some really cool mid to late game human cards that we really don't have access to right now. Again, doing things humans don't do will inspire some really cool creativity. Also, the lack of humans on the plane sets up humans to be more of a high-risk, high-reward creature type instead of a low-risk, low-reward creature type. When there are 80 humans in a set, their design is what I'd like to call cockroachy. There's a lot of them, they swarm, and if they lose a couple, that's fine. If they were to make a set where humans are far and few between, the humans we do see, kind of have to pack a punch both like gameplay and design-wise, which I think puts a lot more weight, which will lead to a lot more creative designs. In a fantasy game with dragons and wizards and all this crazy shit, it's pretty easy to overlook humans. It's easy to assume the proverbial well of human ideas has run dry, but there's plenty more to do. And with the announcement of Bloomburrow, I think the question of humans might be on Wizards' mind currently, which is super interesting. Let me know your guys' opinion on humans and magic, and feel free to comment some ideas you have for human designs and set. And if you've got some custom cards that you think might fit this kind of aesthetic, feel free to join the Discord and post them to our custom card forum. It's free and in the description. Again, if you'd like to show some additional support in the description, starts as low as $1. Much love.